interesting thing when you're a comic writer who doesn't draw, right? And it's, you write out the script, and it depends. Sometimes the scripts are pretty sparse, and sometimes they're really detailed, right?
Yeah.
But the moment you see the art, you look at it, and you forget that you wrote it. At least I do, right? And I did a book with an artist out of Spain named Ramon Box, and when I saw the art from that, like every time I looked at the art, I was like, wow, who wrote this? He's a great writer.
Well,
and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, I wrote this.
Yeah.
He's just an okay writer.
Well, I think that's something that a lot of, again, for people who may not be aware of like the intricacies of creating a comic book, this is why it's very important to think of the artist as a co-creator, because you write the script, but they bring it to life too, and they're what they add to, what they embellish, what they, the collaboration between. I mean, that's why I think comics is truly a collaborative art form, because it's the negotiation between the writer and the artist. Oftentimes, and again, speaking from experience as a very not good writer who had an amazing artist work on his scripts, when you have a writer, an artist who brings his or her own kind of experience to it, and can add to where where, like you said, if you didn't put details, they can add the details for you. I mean, it's magic.
It is. It's totally. There was because I'm actually lettering the book too. So
wow.
And
lettering
and
Shaft.
I'm lettering Shaft. Yeah,
Wow.
It was because I actually enjoy lettering, and it's very zen for me. But it also gives me an opportunity to have like another chance to polish the script a little bit.
Mm.
And so there was about a week or two ago, I was working on one of the pages, and there was this panel, and I was looking at how it was described in the script as I wrote it, and what she drew, and there was this level of emotion in the face that I never even, I wrote a very basic. I was like, Shaft is, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to be getting into specifics because it's a spoiler in the scene, in the comic. But the look she drew on his face was like, oh, it was like, did you read my mind? Because I didn't put it there. That's the best thing you can do as a writer is I could do thumbnails. I could do basic layouts of any comic I write, and a lot of times I do. I tend to do that usually for the first issue for my own sake, and then sometimes I offer those to the artist, and they inevitably never use them. But what's interesting is when I start seeing the art come back, and it looks like what I thumbnailed anyway, the way I laid it out, and it's like, because I try to think as visually as possible. I mean, it is a visual medium,
right?
So.
And that's important. I mean, it's really easy. There's a reason why prose and comics is different, because it's really easy. And again, from experience, it's really easy to overfill a page with too much stuff that won't fit, and the artist has to come back and say, I can't really put 30 panels on this page, so
Hey. I always my comeback to that is always, you can at the very least you can do 9. Dave Gibbons did 9 panels to a page in Watchmen, and if he can do it, you can do it. And I try to never write more than 5 or 6 panels to a page. A lot of artists get really bent out of shape by that, but sometimes I like. And especially with Shaft, I'm trying to give certain scenes a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to have a panel where there's no dialogue, and just the two characters are staring at each other. Right. And that invites the reader to go, well, what are they thinking?
Right.
And if the artist draws the right expression on the face of the character, then the reader projects their interpretation into it, and it becomes much more of a participatory experience. And that's what I love about comics, is that it's not as participatory as reading a novel where you have to visualize everything, but it's more so than in a film, because in a comic you're looking at it and you're like, wow, okay, what's this? The character, I can see that he looks terrified, but he's not saying anything. What's he thinking? And you don't necessarily spell it all out. I mean, I love comics; they're my favorite medium.
Yeah. Well, no, and I think that's part of what I was saying earlier about the collaboration. Like you have the collaboration between the artist and the writer, but it's also collaboration with the reader that they're filling in between the panels.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's right there. You said it. That Will Eisner always talks about that. It's what happens in between the panels. And as a writer, sometimes that's the thing I wrestle with the most is what can I leave out? You know,
Right.
what doesn't need to be there and what does need to be there. So.